Hey friends, I got a lot of things going on in my head and my heart. I thought I would share some of them in case some resonate. So I was thinking about the state of how things are going these days. And I have this practice while I have this period to rest of one eye on, one eye off. Keeping my eye on the state of all the affairs going on externally, and then taking intentional time to really pull my eye away from that and put it on the inside. And yesterday was a day where I was very intentionally focused on what's going on out there, and it was disheartening. And that's the point. Is I feel like that's the end game here, is to dismantle us from the heart space, right? Not cut us off at the knees. They'll do that by cutting us off in the heart space, by removing any and all sort of idea we had to hope, by just bombarding us with endless arrays of terror coming from all angles, making it seem as though there's no one fighting for us. And it's a movie we've seen before. It's a story we've seen before. It doesn't take long to squash hope when your civil liberties are gone, when your food supplies are poisoned, when your water supplies are poisoned, when your loved ones are kidnapped or enslaved or murdered, and no one's standing up and saying otherwise, so it would seem. There's this period before it becomes obvious that we're in a terrorist state, that we're in denial about it. We're in denial typically until it lands upon us. But right now they're coming for everybody, like I've talked about, and so it's diminishing the sense of hope, I think. But here's the good news. I never get that quote right, but James Baldwin talked about how the world is pretty much held together by a few beautiful souls who love deeply. And I think there's great truth to that. See, for all of their quickening in the actions of policies to dismantle us in the heart space and hope, there's a revolution already underway, and that's been quickened too as a response to the dark times. The light times have amplified, and as we begin to organize and come together, we've all seen this movie, right? You would think that the bad guys, although I'm not into black and white thinking, but you would think that the terrorists in this scenario would say, I've seen this movie before, I know that we never win. Because it's not sustainable. This time the revolution will be televised, and it is. And as that is in our face, the courage of a few who are already standing in resistance, I think, helps to seed the hope that we're looking for. The courage of a few that come together and organize with a unified voice and message and great persistence takes that from a seedling of hope to something that's now taking root, because it's being nurtured. It's being protected. The good news is that there's already folks standing up, ready to do so, coming together, galvanizing like never before, coming up with solutions to the problems that they create, standing in solidarity. And now here's the thing, they haven't seen the movie apparently, where they forget that they always lose. I think what I'm asking of us, and maybe part of the reason I share these little messages too, in addition to the solidarity and the sort of like resonance piece, is to hopefully activate some of us to remember, what is it we have to do? In every movie, like Star Wars, what have you, Star Trek, in all of the movies, what do we have to do on the light side in order to defeat the dark? We need to stand together. We need to stand in solidarity. Albert Einstein said that, like, humans' job is to do away with the illusion of separateness. That essentially enlightenment is to just remember the oneness of it all. That's what we need to do. We need to dismantle all the walls that they throw up in order to keep us numb to our feelings and prejudiced to one another, because that's what keeps us small and in spaces of fear. And we'd call it indifference or hopelessness, but I think what's really going on is this sense of, I've forgotten who it is that I am. I've forgotten who it is that we are. When I was going to work with kids for the first time, I was coming off of working with adults with a lot of tough tough battles that they were facing and just crushing. There's one gentleman in particular I really adored, and I asked his advice. I said, "Sir, as I go to work with these kids, do you have any advice for me?" And he had said to me, "Just remind them who they are." So maybe I make these videos too to remind us of who we are. And just that what we need to do is, and has always been, right in front of us. It's to find ways and spaces to have challenging conversations that address the harm that may have been caused by one another or to one another at any given moment, be it the collective or the individual, and to find a way to resolve the harm and bring things back into spaces of community and unity and harmony. At least bringing it back into spaces where we recognize the humanity in one another sufficiently so that when we see the other in suffering or in jeopardy, we stand together. We are stronger together. We always have been. We always will be. You take one light, you put it next to another light, it amplifies. This is what we need to do to beat this evil terrorist empire that's trying to make us feel hopeless. We have to come together. Because, the two quotes that come back to me, song lyrics, and they make perfect sense here. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. And all we need is hope, and for that we have each other. Right? I think the point is we should all just, get more music in our lives. There's a lot of wisdom there. There's also wisdom in being together. Standing in this together. I love you. Be well.